So welcome. This is the Homestead Investment Cooperative presentation. We acknowledge we stand on the traditional territories of the Nihio, Dene, Nakota Sioux, Anishinaabe, Niitsitapi, and within the Métis homeland under Treaty 6. This land, a historic gathering place for diverse Indigenous peoples, shapes our commitment to fostering innovation, cooperation, and shared growth. We honor the enduring presence and deep connection of Indigenous peoples to this land, drawing on their traditions of resilience, respect, and community to enrich our collective endeavors in Edmonton and across Alberta. With gratitude, we embrace a responsibility to engage with reconciliation, respect Treaty 6, and cultivate partnerships that contribute to a legacy of mutual respect, understanding, and prosperity for all who share this land. And one of the reasons why we focus our acknowledgement on Treaty 6 is because that's where our first project is located. And as we expand our projects across Alberta, we'll expand our acknowledgement. So this is a presentation for the Homestead Investment Cooperative. It's an opportunity to invest in the first building in a portfolio of cooperatively owned Alberta real estate assets powered by co-working, starting on Edmonton's historic Jasper Avenue. Why did we choose the Community Investment Cooperative model? So we were looking for a way to build a community of investors around the building because we already have a community within the building, within our tenants and our co-working space. And we wanted to pair that with a really strong connected investment community as well. We want to invest in their own community and in their own backyard and in their own province. Shared prosperity. So the idea of the cooperative model is everyone's treated equally and all ships rise together. The social impact piece. So the co-working model and the cooperative model naturally attract socially minded investors and tenants and individuals. And we know that collectively our businesses and our investment choices are having a social impact across our community and across our province. The democratic decision-making model. So all members have one member, one vote in making key decisions for the cooperative at the annual general meetings. Greater political influence. So we know that we're already a well-connected group of individuals, but we know as we expand and add to our investment network, we're going to have political influence in the future when we need to address a problem or we've come up against something that might be regulatory or policy related. We'll have the ability to affect change. And then long-term vision. So we're looking for investors that are interested in a 5-year investment minimum because we see the advantages of long-term real estate investment, and we want to be investing in the real estate long-term and not looking for quick returns. So a bit of background on myself and the project. So it starts with myself and a historic building on Jasper Ave and the desire to make Edmonton's first private co-working space. So about 2012, I originally toured the building of Alberta Block when it was owned by CKUA and it was currently operated by CKUA. And they were about to move over to their new building, Alberta Hotel building. And within that year, we purchased the Alberta Block building. I saw it as a huge opportunity to invest in a piece of history in a critical location on Jasper Ave. And it hadn't seen any investment in over 50 years. So I also saw it as an opportunity to really breathe new life into the building, do a major retrofit, re-tenant it. And so, and also to put my business in the building. And with that, I was just a one person company, and I wanted to have a community around me of other like-minded people. So I started traveling around North America, looking at different models, and saw how the co-working model was really helping small businesses grow their businesses. So that's when I started Homestead Co-working and brought Homestead co-working into the building once we retrofitted it. And post-COVID, was looking at the project of Alberta Block. I had done a good job of tenanting it and filling it full of great individuals, great tenants. Uh, but I was also wanting in the original vision to pair it with a great group of investors and a community of investors that would collaborate with the tenancy as well in the community in the building. And I talked with Don Iveson. Him and I have been collaborators for many years. And we talked about the different models that could achieve that investment community. And that's when the cooperative model came to the table. And he liked the idea so much. He said, "Can I join you?" And it was fabulous to have someone to help me explore this and found this model. So we are the two founders of Homestead Investment Cooperative. And you know, post his mayoral term, he created the Civic Good, a consulting firm, and actually took office in Homestead Co-working. And then my background is I'm in real estate. I do development management, project management, property management, and I focus on social impact projects and have been doing that for since 2012. Then we've added additional board members. So Jacqueline Cardinal is founder and CEO at Naheowen, a storytelling and education social enterprise. She works to integrate and mobilize diverse knowledge systems to realize the promise of our treaties. Kyla Kazale is co-owner of the Bamboo Ballroom, Bamboo Stockroom, The Common, 9910, and Foos Repair Shop, which is actually a major tenant in our building on the main floor. And Kyla combines her passion for music, culture, fashion, and Edmonton. Heather Kirschbaumer is founder and CEO at Golden Acre Seeds. She runs a fourth-generation family farm in the Peace Country in northern Alberta. Heather has extensive board experience and 25 years of leadership positions on boards across Canada. And Marilyn Hooper. Marilyn has over 2 decades of experience in government, public relations, and community engagement and has built a career at the intersection of politics, policy, and advocacy. So a little bit more background on the building. So it was built in 1909 with an extension back in 1913. The first 1909 building was 4 stories, and the 1913 edition is 6 stories, and that's why you see in the bottom right-hand corner a bump up of the building in the back. So the 6 stories, the additional 2 stories are higher than the four stories. So it was originally home to one of the first locations of Alberta Treasury Branch in Edmonton. Um, it was a fixture on Jasper Ave for music and arts as well, in addition to the finance, and now for entrepreneurs that have filled the building. Like I said, it was home to CQA since the 1950s, and we met a couple months ago with some retired employees of CKUA who told us all the history of the many musicians that have been under its roof and performed there when they were on air and being interviewed by the DJs. And it's just got a rich history in Edmonton. And then when we took it over, we did a deep retrofit. We gutted it back to structure, did structural upgrades to accommodate a future rooftop patio. We put in all new insulation, new windows, triple pane fiberglass windows, R50 roof, and we maxed out the insulation on the walls. We put in a new elevator, new mechanical, electrical. So we really focus on what would position it for the next 50 to 100 years and what would give the building low operational costs to make it competitive in a downtown market. It's currently leased with a 4% vacancy, currently appraised at 8.85 million. And we have the purchase agreement currently at 8.75 million, so just under that appraised value. And we have the opportunity to add additional revenue by developing out that rooftop patio and adding additional usable square footage in the basement for storage or potential use for the restaurant. So a little bit about the market in downtown Edmonton. So commercial real estate vacancies in downtown Edmonton are decreasing. and that's because a number of companies have moved back downtown. As well, there's been a few office building conversions to residential. And we have few opportunities for small investors and company to participate in ownership of commercial real estate in Edmonton. So typically, commercial real estate in Edmonton is for higher net worth individuals, and this cooperative opportunity allows individuals that are not high net worth, in addition to the high net worth individuals, to invest in the building. So our areas of emphasis will be to focus on growing underserved companies and organization types, provide services that go beyond co-working and building a community, create investment opportunities for the members and the community. And we see this business model cycle as stronger tenants create a stronger building, which create a stronger co-op community, and so on. And the relationship is cyclical. We will grow companies, make a major contribution to our economic revitalization, create wealth for investors and tenants, and expand the model to other communities. So our members can enjoy co-working spaces that they can grow their businesses in, ongoing peer mentoring requirements through our kinship program, where all members contribute to helping mentor and educate the community in their respective areas of expertise. Connection to social enterprise and social impact organizations across Canada, and through our networks, we've already been connecting with many of them. The ability to invest in the real estate owned by the co-op, access to our co-op investor network, and connection to our co-op alumni member network. So anytime anyone leaves our cooperative or leaves our co-working model, we want to keep our members engaged and connected in through our events and you know, online virtual events and in-person events and mentorship opportunities. How will we build revenue? So the main source of revenue is through the tenant rents in the building, and then focusing on growing those businesses so they will need more space, and then we can acquire more buildings that they can grow into. Ticketing for premium professional development events. So we already started with ticketed events last fall with live podcasts and speaker panel events, and we intend to start those up again here soon. Brokerage fees for spaces tenants graduate to. So in the event that we can't accommodate the growth for a growing business, and we're not going to grow with them or buy a building that they can grow into, then we want to eventually have a brokerage where we can refer them to other landlords and attain brokerage fees down the road. Space rentals on future amenities, so that could be that rooftop patio, as well as spaces throughout the building. So we already do host events in the building, particularly in Foods Repair Shop. They can accommodate up to 300 people in their space, and they can host 5 private events simultaneously, the way that their space is designed. So they're all set up for space rentals, as well as Homestead co-working. We have meeting rooms and common spaces that can be rented for events. And then future real estate acquisitions. So as we grow the model, we intend to add more buildings to our portfolio. So this first deal is a $9 million deal structure, and we have 2 potential scenarios to raise the funds. So one is we raise 100% of the capital through private investment, and that allows us the most opportunistic refinancing. So we would buy the building with cash, then go to the lenders and negotiate the best deal for refinancing, and then take funds out of the building and expand and buy the next group of buildings. Scenario 2 is we raise the majority of funds through private investment, but finance the balance up to 4.375 million with a commercial mortgage, achieving leverage. So that one is totally doable as well. The only downside is that we won't be able to expand to buying other buildings as quickly. And to expand in the future, we'd have to raise more capital and do another raise. We've done the phase in 2 phases. So the first phase was friends, family, and close business associates. Phase 2 is the public offering memorandum, which is now the current phase. And the first 1 million raise will receive 4% discount on face value of shares issued, The second million raise will get 2% discount to incentivize early commitment. So this was just to reward the early adopters. We spent a lot of time discussing how to reward people that get in early. So for instance, that first million, if you purchased $10,000 in shares, it would actually only cost you 9,600, so you get a $400 discount. And then when we reach 1 million and we're between 1 million to 2 million, then you get the 2% discount, which would be $9,800 for a $10,000 share purchase. We have three classes of shares. So the first class, which is Class A membership, is a $250 one-time fee, and it's mandatory to join the cooperative and mandatory in order to invest. And then you have to choose between two investment share classes, either Class B at $10,000 minimum with $1,000 increments, or Class C, which is a $100,000 minimum with $5,000 increments. So, for example, if you were buying Class B, but you wanted to go higher than 10,000, you can go up by $1,000 increments. So 10,000, 11,000, 12,000, 13,000, and so on, all the way up to 99,000. And then Class C, you can go up in $5,000 increments. So you could start at 100,000, but then go up to 105, 110, 115, and so on. And then the maximum that anyone can invest is 10% of the building value. Projected annual returns are at least 6%, and that's based on the cash flows currently in the building. As well, that doesn't include long-term appreciation gains in the building's equity. A little bit background on the founders and the governance. So the founders are serving as the initial board. We fronted all costs to date, which is over 86,000, and committed 280,000 in share purchases. So, we've been doing the legal, obviously all the legal costs to put this together, and the accounting costs and marketing costs, appraisal costs, building condition report costs. Founders and directors do not receive fees for putting the deal together, but we will receive some shares for our efforts, but only after achieving closing of the deal. So we don't get any rewards if we don't close on this. And that's all identified in the offering memorandum, which is on our investor portal, which I'll talk about in a bit. We're one member, one vote at the general meetings, and we have 9 positions available on the board. We're currently at 6 directors, so we have room on the board for 3 more positions. And one of those positions we're reserving for our Class C investors, which will be a representative voted in at our first AGM this year of our members, where Class C investors will vote representatives to sit on the board to be their voice at the table. Your role as an investor is to join our mentor community and help the next generation of leaders, creators, and innovators thrive, and get first look at investment opportunities with them down the road. So that's something we'll offer down the road. Refer like-minded potential tenants, mentors, and investors. Participate in one member, one vote general meetings to make key strategic decisions with the co-op community. And we also, as an early adopter reward, we created the H100 Club. So that's to reward the first 100 member investors of our cooperative, because they'll be integral in establishing our cooperative and getting our investments going. This will be recognition in a prominent place in the building, like in the lobby or reception. And they will also receive an original H100 keepsake for display in their home or office. So just an overview of the offering terms. The issuer is Homestead Investment Cooperative. The securities are Class A membership shares, which are a $250 one-time purchase. So you have to be a member first. And then you can purchase either Class B or Class C shares. Class B is minimum $10,000 with $1,000 increments. And Class C is minimum $100,000 with $5,000 increments. I talked about the 2 options for the raise. One is a minimum of 4.62 1.625 million raised, and then we close the rest with financing. And then the other is maximum $9 million raise where we buy the building with cash and then place financing later. Voting rights, one member, one vote at cooperative general meetings. And as I mentioned, the Class C shareholders will have the opportunity to elect one board member to sit at the table and have a voice at the table. Rights on dissolution is proportionate share of net assets after liabilities. Dividends and patronage, board of directors will issue on investment shares based on annual operating results. The time horizon is minimum 5 years before redemption, unless under extraordinary circumstances. And that might be a death of a shareholder. But also you can still sell your shares 4 months after the purchase of the shares. But that would just be you either bring in a new investor that's wanting to buy your shares, or you could sell your shares to an existing investor. And that's all with board approval, of course. Use of funds raised. So with the minimum raise scenario, we put a down payment of 4.375 million on the building, and then close the rest with financing, and then have $150,000 for closing costs. So that's the accounting, legal, marketing, and then $100,000 for working capital that would get placed in an account for if anything download in the building and we need to do repairs or anything. And then for the maximum raise scenario of 9 million, we would put down payment of 8.75 million on the building because that's the purchase price. And then $150,000 in closing costs and $100,000 in working capital. And one important piece of information is all the funds that are collected are held in trust with our lawyer until the building sale closes. If for whatever reason we don't close on the building and we don't extend the offering, then all funds get returned 100% to the investors. This investment is RSP and TFSA eligible through the Canadian Workers Cooperative Federation. And so that could be through a new RSP or TFSA investment, but also through an existing, you can transfer from an existing RSP or TFSA. Closing, so the building sale is closing on July 31st currently, and the offering is currently open until June 16th, 2025. So why does this matter? So, as founders and our board, we believe in Edmonton, we believe in Alberta, we believe that this is where you build things and create things. And we have a wonderful investment community across Alberta. And we believe if we bring builders and creators and investors together, that we can really make some big things happen across the province. We believe we will become to represent a beacon of growth and prosperity, and and a great growing community of entrepreneurs and investors and creators and builders. And through presenting this model, we've had a number of FAQs. So just to answer some of those. So one of the big questions we get is it difficult to sell shares in a co-op ownership model? What if I want to get my money out early? So I mentioned that redemption can occur after the 5-year mark. So that's where the cooperative actually buys the shares off of the investors. But before that, after 4 months after purchasing the shares, you can sell to a new investor or to an existing investor. What are the benefits for investors who live outside of Edmonton? So we've asked that question of our investors that have invested from rural Alberta or other towns or cities. And they really like the idea of diversifying their investment portfolio outside of their local area. So they may be invested in real estate in their local community, but they like the idea of diversifying across Alberta and not having to manage that investment themselves, as well as tapping into the network that we're building across Alberta and quite frankly across Canada, because we have investors also outside of Alberta. So it's just tapping into a much larger network of like-minded people is also a big benefit to them. What is the difference between this investment in a GIC or an investment in a REIT? So one of the biggest differences is the voting shares. So being able to vote on key decisions at the annual general meeting, having the opportunity to join the board So we vote in new board members at every general meeting. And when those positions come available, so there's the opportunity to join the board if that's something you want to do. There's the opportunity to put forward potential projects for investment in and to contribute to decisions to where our investment goes next. Being able to invest in your local community and in your local province. So GICs and REITs, you don't know necessarily where your money is actually going, and you don't have a tangible connection to that investment property. Whereas through this model, you'll be getting regular updates on what's going in those buildings. Have opportunities to attend events in the buildings and to have a say in the future of those investments. What is the desired next addition to the portfolio? So we want to expand where the investment energy is, where the market is, and where the entrepreneurs are. And so we're going to be setting a criteria for those future investments and then asking our investment community where they want to invest their dollars next. And obviously, when I talked about the scenarios for the raise, the two different scenarios I talked about, how quickly we expand to the portfolio and add future additions will depend on how much money we raise in this first round, and develop, and that will influence our strategies going forward. So one of the first orders of business will be to create a 5-year strategic plan based on the amount of money that we've raised. And we will be getting input from our investor network on that strategic plan before we finalize it. So next steps. So if you're interested in investing, we have an investor portal that's online that walks you through the steps of investing to try to streamline it and make it easier. To get access, you can email grow@homesteadcowork.ca, or you can go to our landing page at homesteadcowork.ca/HIC. And there's buttons for purchasing Class B or Class C shares. So you can then sign up and set up your investor profile on the portal. And on there is background information on our board, due diligence documents like our cash flow projections, financial statements, the full offering memorandum, the building condition report, building appraisals, our bylaws, our incorporation documents, all of that background information. And then if you decide you want to start investing, there's literally a button that says invest now, or you can set up a call if you have more questions as you walk through the investment portal. As well, I encourage you to tour the building by emailing grow@homesteadcowork.ca. We have staff in the building Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and we can accommodate your schedule. As well as we have a open house coming up on April 24th from 4:30 to 7:30, and that will be an opportunity to tour the building, listen to a similar presentation, but also there will be other board members present, meet other investors. So we're inviting existing investors as well as potential future investors. So it's an opportunity to start meeting the community that we're growing and meet other members and hear from other investors as well. And this is our contact information, so our email. That's my phone number if you want to call or text. And then this is the address of the building if you want to stop by. Homestead reception is up on the second floor at Suite 202, and the building's 10526 Jasper Avenue, Edmonton, Alberta. So with that, I will open it up to questions that anyone might have. Just going to look at the chat. Okay. Okay, so from Stephen, how many people have invested currently? And also, how much has been raised so far from the community? So I'll just answer that first question. How many people have invested currently? So we're at, I think, 26 invested currently. And how much money has been raised so far from the community? So we just passed 600,000 yesterday. And we have a number of people. So in the back end of the investor portal, I can see everyone that's logged in and who's started to fill out the documentation. So we have much more of that in the pipeline. How do we go about investing if we already have a TFSA currently set up at a different institution? So that's a great question. So when you start doing the steps through the investor portal, it will ask you if you want to invest through an RRSP or TFSA, and if you already have an existing account through the Canadian Workers Co-op Federation or not. So you have the option of saying, yes, I already have one, and you can give your membership number, or you can open up a new one. And then once you decide to open up or answer those questions, then it'll ask you, are you investing a new cash RSP or TFSA, or are you transferring from an existing one? So depending on how you answer that, then it will change the documents that you fill out electronically, and so it asks all the relative or all of the respective questions, depending on, or yeah, all of the questions based on how you answer the first few, and then it fills out the documents for you, and then at the end you review them. And so if you are transferring from an existing TFSA or RSP, there's a form that gets filled out with the name of your current institution. You have to have your account information ready for your TFSA or RSP account. And then do not opt for PAD. So PAD is only for new cash investments. Um, and you'll sign the documentation. It'll come to us. Once we approve it, we send it to the Canadian Workers Co-op Federation, and then they contact your financial institution where your current investment is at, and they will start the transfer process. So you don't have to do anything. You just have to fill out the forms on the investor portal. What about parking? So there is so there's street parking and there's surface parking, quite a few surface parking stalls within a block of our building. We don't have any on-site parking, and that's one of the downsides of our vehicles existed, and the building was built right to the lot lines on all four sides. So they maximize the square footage of the building. But we have many tenants in the building that access parking in the adjacent parking lots, as well as there's underground parkades, also many underground parkades within a block radius of our building. Um, okay, any other questions? As well, you can unmute yourself if you want to just ask the questions in person. I'm assuming there isn't any investor liability. So yes, that's correct. Um, and with the board, we have board insurance, director insurance. But yes, that's right. There isn't any investor liability, do personal guarantees, or and maybe they'll be at a point where the cooperative is in a position to do corporate guarantees, but we're not currently there. So that's why when I was talking about the raise scenarios and placing financing, we can't do more than 50% loan to value because of not providing those guarantees. Because normally you would be, a loan to value of 65% or 70% in the typical scenario where there are guarantees. Any other questions? And so again, if any questions pop up as you're reviewing the materials, you can just email us or contact us, and we can answer them, or we can set up a separate call, just one-on-one. And we also have the open house coming up on April 24th. So if you want to come down to that and ask any questions as well, you can set up the tour individually if that date doesn't work for you. So yeah, so we have multiple opportunities to get you more information if you need it. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining. This is we've been having a lot of fun with this process. We had an open house on in the last week of March, and it was fantastic. It was like great to see that what we've been planning and working on for years now is actually coming to fruition. The people that came, it was just a fantastic event. People stayed for a long time. Foods is very generous. They're giving gift certificates to anyone that's coming to go down and try their food and drink. And so we all went down afterwards and had some great conversation and it's just really great to see the growing community and all the people that are interested in this model. So I encourage you to come and check it out for yourself and yeah, I look forward to hearing from you in the future. Thanks very much for joining everyone.